Hi, my name is Vincent Goods. I'm a freshman here at A&T State University, and I'm a computer science major. So, before we get started into any main points, there is nothing without history. So, for Raspberry Pi in 2006, early concepts of Raspberry Pi were based on the Atmel and ATmega 644 microcontroller. Its schematics and PCB layout are publicly available to this day. Foundation trustee Ebden Upton assembled a group of teachers, academics, and computer enthusiasts to devise a computer to inspire children. The computer is inspired by Alcorn's BBC Micro in 1981. During the pre-launch process in July 2011, trustee Ebden Upton publicly approached the RISC-OS Open community to inquire about assistance with the port. In August 2011, 50 alpha ports were manufactured. In October 2011, a version of RISC-OS 5 was demonstrated in public. In the following year, developed the port and was released in general consumption in November 2012. In December of 2011, 25 Model B beta ports were assembled and tested from 100 unpopulated PCBs. In early 2012, the first week of the year, the first 10 ports were put up for auction on eBay. After post-launch in 2012, they made 15 different versions of Raspberry Pi. The Adreno project was started at the IDII in Avera, Italy. At the time, the students used the basic stamp microcontroller at a cost of $50, a considerable expense for many students. In 2003, Hernando Baran created the development platform Wiring and Master's Thesis project at IDII under the supervision of Massimo Banzi and Casey Reyes. Casey Reyes is known for co-creating with Ben Fry the processing development platform. The project was to create simple, low-cost tools for creating digital projects by non-engineers. The wiring platform consisted of a printed circuit board with an ATmega 168 microcontroller and IDE based on processing and library functions to easily program the microcontroller. In 2005, Massimo Banzi and David Mellis, another IDII student, and David Corratellis extended wiring by adding support for the cheaper ATmega 8. Now to the main points for the Adreno versus Raspberry Pi argument. Unlike the Adreno and its do-it-all microcontroller, the Raspberry Pi sports a microprocessor which requires assistance from separate chips to be able to store, run, and execute code. If you are familiar with the motherboard of the computer, the microprocessor is the processor, the heart of the computer, and then you have the RAM, graphics controller, Ethernet controller, and hard drive, and all these other separate components that are required for the computer to run. So if you shrink all that down to a single board, you got yourself a Raspberry Pi, being an entire computer itself. One can see why it's difficult to compare it to Adreno. The Pi has built-in USB graphics, wireless Bluetooth, and audio, and it runs in the Linux operating system, so you can literally use it like any other computer. But because of that, it also requires more power than the Adreno to run, and the adding layers of chips and software not only make it a lot more complex than the Adreno, but it makes it more complex to operate. So why does it compare so much to the Adreno? It's because some of the pins, known as general purpose input-outputs pins or GPIO pins, and the like Adreno, they will be used to control the other electronic components. While they aren't as extensive as the pins enlarged as we know, they can be still used to do a lot of the same things that controlling lights, motors, sensors, and LDSs. To program these GPIO pins, instead of connecting it into the separate computer like you would have to do with the Adreno, you can program them directly from the Pi since it itself is a computer. Python is the primary programming language for programming these pins, but then you can also use some of the other popular that are out there. Similar to the Adreno, shields that Pi have, something called hats that sits upon the GPIO pins and allow you to easily add pre-made components. Pis have 3 different sizes to choose from, as well that you can get the right one that fits your project size. A Raspberry Pi is more sophisticated in this regard, having a video output, an HDMI port, a SD card port, an audio jack, CSI camera port, DSI display port, 4 USB 2.0 ports you can use to attach USB devices, a gigabit Ethernet jack, wireless LAN ports, Bluetooth 4.2, and an I/O pin, GPIO GPIO as well. Let's look at the Adreno. This is a device that you want if all you want to do is control the electronic components and nothing else. You can add motors, light sensors, and even wireless Bluetooth modules to make it the perfect platform for building robots. The heart of the Adreno is a little chip, which is known as the microcontroller. Microcontrollers are the chips that are created by Texas Instruments, the same people who made the big developing calculators, so that comparing a calculator isn't really far off. These microcontrollers have basically everything you need to store and run and execute programs right within the chip itself, and they don't require much power to run. You often see them powered by 9-volt batteries. Adrenos come in many different shapes and sizes, so no matter what size project that you have, there's likely an Adreno that is out there for you. They also have options for easily attachable pre-made peripherals called shields.